So, guys, it is now evident that Tinubu is going to be one of the worst presidents Nigeria has ever produced. You can imagine this level of rascality. So it means that paying tax in Nigeria now should not be encouraged, because you have government officials who will tell you that, they know how to spend the money. Just listen to this clip.
With such huge size, are you going to make any headway in dealing with them? And don't forget, it's not just the cost of flight. It's lasting for 13 days. There's the cost of hotel. And there is also the fact that you have to deal with what they call Esther code. They said approximately a minister's Esther code is about $900 per day. And so it cascades down. So it's more about being sensitive to the moods of the time, being sensitive to the fact that there is increasing hardship in the country, and being sensitive that across the board Nigerians want to, a leader who will feel the pulse of the people.
My God, Nigeria is finished. No wonder even the IGP abandoned his post to go for this climate conference, Nigerians. My God, what kind of country are we having?
How would you describe this scenario? Sad, or the situation where Nigerians are agitating, or are Nigerians just overreacting in this matter?
Comic, paradoxical. I can find more adjectives. Well, if you take this in isolation, it will probably be some room for justification. You can argue COP28 compared to what happened in Egypt, the size of the delegations have doubled, and so there's been this increasing tendency for increasing the number of delegates. But we cannot take this in isolation. We had just come out from conversations about purchase of a 116 million naira SUV for legislators. The president has been junketing around. We read that when he attended the UNGA conference in New York, he spent 500 million, and then dollars, not naira, and then he went to a number of UAE and several other countries. How much were they costing? And just a few days ago, the minister for FCTA told us that the government was going to spend 15 billion naira, not to build, but to complete a befitting residential place for the vice president. So amid the binge on loan and borrowing, and the increasing hardship, and increasing immiseration of Nigerians, this thing happening is not just that it raises question about fidelity to cutting down the cost of governance, but also to the question of whether there is even compassion for the suffering Nigerians. Because if there is really the compassion for what's happening in the country at the moment, people should also be sensitive to the optics around the whole thing.
Not be one chance Nigeria enter. You can see it. They are so insensitive.
Well, the various newspapers have estimated that the size of the Nigerian delegation is about 890. The Nigerian government funded. 890. And then it's
those who argue that it may not be as much, maybe between 500 and 700.
Even do you need that many? Even if you put it at that number, so what will be their roles?
In Dr. Ajayi's paper, he argued that Nigeria has a peculiar. Nigeria is big in Africa. Nigeria has a big economy. Nigeria has a peculiar climate.
Don't let them deceive you. Here is the Prime Minister of Netherlands riding a bike to work. Where on earth can this happen in Nigeria? It can't. These people are even richer than Nigeria, but they know how to manage their resources very well. But Nigeria is going out to present itself as a poor nation, begging for loan. But when they come home, they waste the money.
That is not the way to read that. I mean, he's a government functionary, so you can understand that. You cannot justify that you're having more delegation than the European Union, than America, than Britain. In terms, these are people, they're just talking about what they call lost and found fund to help poorer countries, deal with climate change. So you come with this huge delegation, and these are being funded. These are the Western countries that we expect to fund out those things. And you are overwhelmed by borrowing, and you are the multilateral creditors They are the bilateral creditors. Sooner than later, we're already giving them signals that we're going to come around to beg for debt forgiveness. And if you come with such huge size, are you going to make any headway in dealing with them? And don't forget, it's not just the cost of flight. It's lasting for 13 days. There's the cost of hotel. And there is also the fact that you have to deal with what they call Esther code. They said approximately a minister's Esther code is about $900 per day. And so it cascades down. So it's more about being sensitive to the moods of the time, being sensitive to the fact that there is increasing hardship in the country, and being sensitive that across the board, Nigerians want to, a leader who that will feel the pulse of the people. So you cannot be. We move from 160 million SUV, 15 billion for the, for the vice president to have a befitting residential place, and then 1.2 trillion in supplementary budget just on luxury items. So I think that the government of the day will really be able to, have a second look at all this.
I mean, from from the argument, there are a lot of outrage, especially for some names that came up, some individuals that are maybe social media favorites, and those who their opposition in code never thought they could be on that kind of delegation, and perhaps, of course, they've said government didn't sponsor. In fact, we've seen some politically exposed persons who said, look, I am there on my own account. I'm not sponsored by government. People are now coming out to say, I'm not sponsored by government. I sponsored myself. I'm not sponsored by government. I'm sponsored myself. But the question is that it is a system, some will say, about how government is being run, and the template that has been existing before this government come into power. Does it make this government look less serious or more serious in the manner in which this system has put them?
No, somebody not long ago, Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, mentioned that the government inherited a bankrupt economy, which many people, understand that. But if that's where so, if you cannot fix the economy, then don't make it worse by your policies. Yes, there have been some people that, for example, we don't know whether Sheyi went there on his own, but in the newspapers, he was listed among those who went, who was part of the delegation. And there are actually about 3 categories. You have the government, the NGOs, and the media, and some other minor groups.
Private sector.
Yeah, private sector can be part of the government delegation. How many people from the private sector are likely to be part of it? No more than 20, because you go with the top-notch ones. And these people can pay for themselves. So if it is actually true that it's 890, that is government-sponsored, what will be their specific responsibilities?
We understand that UNDP sponsored some private media organizations.
They can only sponsor the NGOs. So, and there are categories. As I said, there is the NGO community, there is the government one, and there is the media organizations.
So you're saying, Prof, that with the situation of the country, what kind of size do you think would be reasonable for a government in this kind of economic hardship should have sponsored?
Well, the size will depend on what will be your specific role in that conference. So I can understand the business community because you want to be able to make deals that will potentially benefit the country. So if the government wants, I don't think more than 3 ministers, personally speaking, you set the tone. Because if you set the tone and people know that the president abhors waste, whoever is compiling the list will be sensitive to the feelings of the president. But if you feel that there is an imperial proclivity, on the part of the president, that he likes all this big entourage because he gives one a sense of affirmation of one's importance, then the people, including that, will keep on increasing the size. Because don't forget, it is part of the ways they build personal loyalty. They build this personal patronage. And it's precisely what they call the politics of prebendal politics. Like that prebend, they throw it around and makes it go around. So
Why do government officials have this yearning, this itching, this hunger to want to leave the country, to want to travel? Why did they travel first?
well, you can say it's partly colonial.
Nigerians, we must stand up and hold these people responsible. We must hold them responsible. We must bring them to account on how they are using the resources of our nation. If you keep quiet, they are eating deep into your future and even into the lives of the unborn children. These people do not care. They are not sensitive to the plight of the people. They don't care what Nigerians are going through. They only ask us to tighten our belts while they losing theirs. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Don't forget that the ex-president Obasanjo has called on the Nigerian youth to stand up and disrupt the system. Don't keep quiet because nobody is going to give you better government except to fight for it. And that is what we are here for, to ensure a new Nigeria is better. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell for more updates. See you again in my next video. Bye.